Welcome to Storytime, presented by Suffolk Public Schools. In a few seconds, join your child here in front of your television to enjoy today's special story. We want to help your child discover the joy of reading. Encouraging your child to read, particularly reading with your child, will make a significant difference in how well they do in school. It improves their vocabulary. It brings them an understanding of a world far beyond Suffolk. Reading isn't just about books. You can learn a lot from reading a magazine, a comic book, the newspaper, or even listening to books on tape. Our Storytime series will feature our staff sharing a book with your child. We have selected a variety of award-winning books that children love to hear, some classics and some new editions. The collection of storybooks we will share with you can be checked out from your school library or a nearby public library. We hope you and your child enjoy today's story. It's story time with Ms. Richardson.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. It's story time. It's so nice to see you. Today I am going to read the cutest book. It's so much fun. It's called Goldie Socks and the Three Libearians. Goldie Socks and the Three Libearians. Does that remind you of another story you know? That story might be Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Let's read this one and see how they might be similar. The author's name is Jackie Mims Hopkins, and it's illustrated by John Manders. Are you ready? I always like to look at the cover, and when I look at the cover of this book, I see three bears and a girl. That must be Goldie Socks, and she has a book in her hands. And then I also look behind the bears, and there's more books. I love to read. They must love to read too. Once upon a time, nestled deep in an enchanted forest, there lived a book-loving bear family. Papa Bear was a public librarian. Mama Bear was a school librarian. And their son, Baby Bear, was a librarian in training at the Grizzly Preschool. Look at these three bears. They're kind of cute. And they look pretty happy. One morning, a little girl named Goldie Socks was on her way to school. Goldie Socks usually walked along the road, but this day, since she was running particularly late, she decided to take a shortcut through the forest. There she is. And I'm looking at Goldie Socks, and I thought to myself, why do you think her name is Goldie Socks? Let's look at her a little closer. Maybe because she has what color socks? Maybe she has gold socks. She looks mighty cute with her gold socks. By and by, Goldie Socks came upon an astonishing sight. There, right in the middle of the forest, she saw a cottage that appeared to be made out of books. I've never seen a cottage made out of books, have you? But look at this cottage. It has books as a chimney. It has the spine at the top on the roof line. And then the cover, the front and the back cover swoop down. The door and the sides of the cottage look like books. Wow, this is pretty amazing. What do you think could be inside this cottage? Do you think Goldie Socks wants to know too? Let's turn the page and find out. Goldie Socks loved books more than bears love honey. Hey, do bears love honey? You bet they do. So she went up to that house for a closer look. She knocked on the door, and to her surprise, it creaked open. What do you think she's going to do? What would you do? Would you be curious? Would you want to go inside? I would. Cautiously, Goldie Socks peeked inside. Shelves and shelves of wondrous books lined the walls. She called out to see if anyone was home, but no one answered. Goldie Socks knew she shouldn't go in, but the temptation of all those books was just more than she could bear. Look at her She's going in. She's looking around. Woo, there are a lot of books in this cottage. Once inside the cottage, Goldie's socks went straight to the shelves, and she began browsing through the books. The first book she pulled off the shelf was too big. In fact, it was so heavy, it fell on the floor. Goldie Socks went to another shelf, but the book she took from this shelf was too little. Then she looked through some nonfiction books. You know, nonfiction books are those real, true life books, and found one that was just right for her. Sometimes it's hard to find a just right book. Goldie Socks wandered over to another shelf and opened up a chapter book. She used the 5-finger rule to see if the book was too hard. She started with a closed fist, just like this. When she came to a word she couldn't read, she'd put one finger up. All 5 fingers were up while reading the first page of the book. So she knew if all 5 fingers were up, that book was too hard for her. She would get to that book a little later. She tried another book, but it was too easy. Then she found a book of fairy tales that was just right. Maybe only 1 or 2 fingers went up. That's a good book for her. And that would be a good book for you. After she found several books that were just right for her, Goldie Socks began searching for the perfect place to read them. Goldie Socks looked around the room. She was just a-looking, and she spotted this big lazy bear recliner. She climbed up in the enormous chair and pushed back, but it went back way too far. Look at her in this chair. It's huge. I see only her sock shoes and her hair. And the books went flying up in the air. Whose chair do you think this belongs to? Baby bear? Mama bear? Papa bear? I bet it's Papa Bear's chair because it's big. She surveyed the room again, and this time she spied a poofy couch with lots of pillows. Ooh, it's pink, and it's poofy, and it has all those pillows. I wonder whose chair this is. Baby Bear's chair? I don't think so. Papa Bear's chair? I don't think so. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Is it Mama Bear's chair? If you're thinking that, you're right. Goldie Socks sprang into the air and she landed smack dab in the middle of the couch. Pillows flew everywhere. The couch was just too squishy. Maybe there is a comfy place upstairs, she thought. Where do you think she's going next? Whose chair do you think she's looking for? She sat in Papa Bear's chair. She sat in Mama Bear's chair. Let's turn the page to find out. When Goldie Socks reached the top of the stairs, she saw a tent made out of a blanket. Do you like tents? I love tents. I love to make my own tent, and guess what I like even better? I like to take a good book and read my book inside the tent. And that's exactly what Goldie Socks did. She crawled inside that cozy tent. She opened the book of fairy tales, and she began reading. Doesn't that sound like fun? Look at her in that tent. That's a pretty neat tent. Yes, this place was just right. And you know who likes to read in that tent from the bear family, right? Are you thinking Baby Bear? That's what I'm thinking. Around noon, the 3 Libearians came home for lunch. Uh-oh, look at their faces. They're looking at the front door. And guess what? The front door is open just a little bit. I think they're thinking, uh-oh, somebody might be in our house. Let's find out who. Doesn't this sound a little bit like Goldilocks and the 3 Bears? Papa Libearian immediately noticed one of his books on the floor. Somebody's been looking at my big books and left one on the floor, he said. Then Mama Libearian said, somebody's been looking at my little books and put one back on the shelf. with the pages showing instead of the spine. Then Baby Librarian said, somebody's been looking at my nonfiction books and one is gone. Look at his face. Look at Papa Bear's face. Look at Mama Bear. They're looking confused. They're not looking too happy. Uh-oh, what do you think's going to happen? Yikes, look at Papa Bear on this page. Papa Librarian looked at another shelf and said, somebody's been looking at my hard books and left one on top of the shelf. Somebody's been looking at my easy books and put one back on the shelf upside down, said Mama Librarian. Then Baby Librarian said, somebody's been looking at my fairy tale books and one is gone. Uh-oh. They're probably thinking, what's going on around here? I think I know what's going on. I think you know what's going on. Let's see what's next. Papa Librarian saw that his favorite chair was not in the same position that he had left it. Somebody's been sitting in my recliner and left it pushed back, he said. Then Mama Librarian said, somebody's been on my poofy couch and knocked all the pillows on the floor. Do you know what Baby Bear is going to say? Let's find out. The three librarians crept up the stairs, and when they got to the top, Baby Librarian said, somebody's been in my cozy reading tent, and there she is. Goldie Socks looked up from her book and saw the big, sharp teeth of three librarians. What do you think she's thinking? I might be thinking they might want to gobble me up with those teeth showing. But guess what? They were all smiling at her. Look at these three bears. They're so funny. Each one of them are smiling at her. Why are they smiling? Are they smiling because they like to read too? You think that's what they're thinking? Let's find out. Papa and Mama and Baby Librarian joined Goldie Socks in the tent, all of them. There are 4 people in the tent. Papa Librarian read a story to everyone. And guess what? It was a just right book. And that's the end of Goldie Socks and the 3 librarians. Isn't that hilarious? It's a little bit like Goldilocks and the 3 bears. A little bit. This has a different twist to it. Don't you think it's funny how you find the right book? Do you remember what they did? She put up her fist when she found a book, and when she read the first page, if she missed a lot of words, every time she missed a word, she'd put a finger up. And if she got to 5 words on the first page, she knew she wasn't ready for that book. So she would put that back and get it a little later. Then she'd find another book, and remember, she'd do the 5-finger rule, where you have your fist like this. And if you were to maybe miss 1 or 2 words, then you would know that's a just right book for you. And that's how you look for a book that's just right when you're in your local school library or your public library. Wasn't that fun? I'm really looking forward to the next book. Join us for story time.